Testing, testing. Just waiting for some people to come into the stream. Getting the audio set up. Getting ready for another crazy day. Just waiting for people to pump in here. Let's check out Fiat Week. Fiat Leak. Let's see what we're doing there. A lot to cover. A lot to go over. Jesus. All right. The Dow's opened up. I'm going to see what's going on. Let's pop out this chat. Okay. And we are live a little earlier, 2 minutes early for the stream. But why not? Let's get into it. Let's see what's happening with gold. Bitcoin. Gold holding 1614, only down $7, barely a percentage. The Dow up 399 points, trying to pump it as much as they can. This is just literally the Federal Reserve buying stocks. I mean, if you don't know that, because if they give bailouts, they buy stock, whatever they're doing, they're just buying the stock market. Soon the Federal Reserve will own everything, right? They are the biggest real estate holder in the world. They own more real estate than any. I'm trying to figure this out. Sorry. They own more real estate than any entity in the entire world, the Federal Reserve now, because they bought all the mortgage-backed securities. So let me higher up in the frame. Okay. So there's some crazy news going on. There's a lot of stuff to go over today. We're going to look at the Dow and tell you what I think is happening for the Dow. Well, right now we're getting into the overbought region already. So just to pump it up back to 21. So they did some disgusting business, right? Look what they did. They took the Dow from 18 and they pumped it with a bunch of money, right? They pumped it 15% in 2 days, right? It's laughable because we all know they wouldn't have to pump the Dow 15%. My wife was vacuum cleaning. She roasted some dust. I do not have corona. I also sneezed into my sleeve. As you can see that, guys, please do the same. Even in your own house, why not? Why not, right? Just do the right thing. Oh, I feel like I don't need my glasses early. My glasses are for like later on. But the more you use them, the more you feel like you need them. That's what happens to me. That's why I try not to use them. All right, if you're just coming into the stream, I hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a good morning on this Wednesday, the 25th, right? Okay. Now, I'd like to start with this.
The balance sheet is exploding. Why on earth is the dollar going up and gold going down? I'm going to explain that to you in 3 simple, fast steps. Step number 1, let's talk about gold. But before we do, I want to address the news that I saw this morning, and that's that the Fed is starting $125 billion of QE per day. Per day. To put that into perspective, quantitative easing 3 was $85 billion a month. A month. And they
So we went from $85 billion of the Fed pumping in a month to $125 billion a day. What do you think that's going to do to your dollar? What do you think that's going to do to the price of food in the store? You're going to have a $20 carton of milk.
They're doing
Mark that I said this. You're going to have a $20 carton of milk, $7 to $12 loaf of bread. Mark my words. This is going to hurt. And minimum wage isn't going up. Things aren't going up. This is going to hurt. This is what's going to cause the Great Depression, not the coronavirus, the unlimited pumping of money.
$5 billion a day. I mean, where are they getting enough treasuries to buy? And the whole problem with the repo market, or one of the main problems, is that there's not enough collateral. So they're out there taking collateral out of the system, putting it onto their balance sheet. Absolutely amazing.
For instance, the bank, when he says collateral, like the bank will own a bunch of properties. Then they'll borrow money or they'll get money from another bank, but they have collateral. They say, well, we own, $10 billion in property. But now that is being bought by the Federal Reserve and they're giving the loans out. So now there's no collateral for the loans, right? It's just one entity buying up everything. As I said earlier today, the Federal Reserve is the biggest holder of real estate in the entire world. They own, after the mortgage-backed securities in '08 and even now, they bought more real estate because they own the mortgages and the liens to so much property. They're the biggest owner of real estate in the globe.
It's truly QE infinity. In fact, they've actually admitted it now, as though it's a good thing. They're not calling it QE infinity. They're just calling it open-ended. There is no limit to the amount of money they're going to print. Also, they came out with a statement saying they are now buying everything. There's no pretending anymore. They've extended it to student loans, credit card debt, auto loans, SBA loans, and my favorite, mortgage-backed securities, not the typical kind, but commercial real estate. I mean, look at what they're doing. They're looking at any asset class that can possibly go down, and they're taking it off the private sector balance sheet and putting it onto their balance sheet. So no matter how much of a haircut these assets take, it's not going to matter because it's on the Fed's balance sheet. Now, I shouldn't say it's not going to matter because there's some huge ramifications to this. More on that in step number 3. Now let's get, especially going back to 2012 through 2014, when the dollar was cheap and interest rates were zero, just like we have today. But a lot of these countries and corporations outside the U.S. loaded up on dollar-denominated debt, even though their revenues may be in their own local currency.
Oh my God, we're in a bad place right now. If you think that the Dow is going to get out of this just because they're pumping it, you are highly mistaken. Bitcoin just had a huge pop, which is not good for me because I sold at 6,500 and I was hoping for it to come down. Right as the market opened, Bitcoin flies, right? And now I'm going to act like a chaser. Dang. Bothers me a little bit because I think this is a good cheap time to buy Bitcoin. If you look at it on the daily, it was super oversold and now it's grinding. We have a MACD cross here. I think we'll go back to the top of this trend line, which would put us back at 8,500, which would get us up there, a big gain coming for Bitcoin. This is kind of a breakout right now. Thinking maybe I should get up in there, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to play this close to the gains. Up a few thousand, up like basically 1,200 in the last 2 days trading Bitcoin. But yeah, of course, I bat my eyelashes. It's literally, it just went up. If we look at the 15-minute chart on Bitcoin, this is a 15-minute candle. So 15 minutes ago, you could have bought Bitcoin at 6,557. And it went all the way to 679 and then got sold back down a little bit. I do see kind of a head and shoulders forming here. It was forming. Was a retest of this level, but you could also consider it, if we take off my old work, guys, I don't like to do, but sometimes you have to. When we look at this is kind of a range it's in right now. It's at the bottom of the range. It looks like it got rejected by the top of the range. A lot of selling right here at this level. And you can see we hit it here, we hit it here, we hit it here. Will we come back down to the trend line at 65.40 and get another flush up? It's very possible. That's why you got to remain super calm right now. Like, I don't want to just run into Bitcoin right now. I am FOMOing. I'm in the middle like everybody else. I don't want to get left behind accumulating more Bitcoin under $7,000. I mean, it's pretty cheap. But could we come back up? Could we come back in? We're in a large pattern here. What I see happening for Bitcoin, I mean, we did hit this resistance. I would look to get back in this little blue area, in this box area for the short term. for the short term, right around here. I'm trying to get back in at 6,500. I sold at like 7 this morning. I had a stop loss that it got taken out. And if you don't believe me, because there's been a lot of controversy over traders not showing their trades, stuff like that, people making things up. So let's put the money where the mouth is. If you go to my dashboard, I can actually show you my last few trades. This is a great program, 3 commas. Funny, right? 3 commas. But it shows you my last few trades. And not every trade was a winner, obviously. But my last 2 trades, like here, I lost $100 trading Link. I was trying to buy the bottom one night. Not a good idea. I got caught up. But we replaced those losses easily here. On 321, we got in at 5,300. At 322 at 8 a.m., basically a day later, we sold at 59. We made 590. Then another time we got in 588 and we sold at 6,500. We made another 538. Up 12%, almost 13 here. Up almost 10.3% gains there. So just so you can see what's going on, Bitcoin made those 2 trades on Bitcoin. And we're just going to see what happens. We'll see the money flowing into Bitcoin with fiat. Wow, it's pumping heavy. There's a lot of buying going on. Some of the most buying I've ever seen in US dollars. Even around the world, I'm seeing more currencies than ever. I believe that the coronavirus is pushing people deep into Bitcoin. I think we're going to see a huge surge in Bitcoin coming very soon. So just trying to find that little pocket, that little place to get down. We just had that big pump. Almost wish I never put the stop loss there. I should have been a little cuter and cleaner with it. But hey, I wanted to take gains. I hate when I'm up and I lose those gains. We do have a double top forming, right? And when I showed the double top to myself, I said, well, that would be an M. And then we would go to the bottom of this M here. And that will put us back down, kind of trending on this line. Could be kind of more something like this at 4,500. So there's a chance we go back to 4,500 here. We get a bounce. We are having a MACD cross come on the 4-hour right here, which showing that we may have some downside. And we're approaching, a big move here that was pretty pushed up. So now gold's still holding its gains, which was good to me. I think the Dow is eventually going to end negative today. I don't think it's going to hold these gains. There's just too much, baloney going on in the Dow right now. So if you don't understand that the printing of money isn't going to get you where you need to go, it's similar to having a car with a gas tank with a hole in it, and you just keep pouring gas into it. Eventually, you're not getting the gas mileage you want, right? So it's not healthy at all. And also, what happens is you spend more money on gas trying to get there. That's the QE, pumping money. But the gas is just flowing out the bottom, so you have to keep going and get more gas over and over again. It's a cycle that won't stop until you run out of money or the car runs out of gas, right? JNUG holding gains from yesterday, which is strong. You could tell it was very oversold. Now is a really good time to buy more JNUG. This would be a huge accumulation range for JNUG. Just a time where we had our double bottom kind of here. We're kind of coming out. This is something that you really want to stay in right now. I would advise to double into the position at this point because it does seem to tank when the market tanks, but because it's so oversold, I think it'll fight through that. And as gold goes up, you're going to see the moves make more sense. So yeah, shorting on the SPXU, I definitely told people that were in it to get out around 37 area. It was just, to me, it was too oversold, overbought. It was getting high up in the RSI region. And also, when you make good gains, just don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. Take your gains. That's what I did with Bitcoin right now. I wasn't greedy. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient and wait for my next move to get in there. I think so too. Dow going to start tanking again. Fake pump. Oh, yeah, this is a fake pump for sure. Definitely. Let's get into some cool news. Got some awesome news to share with you guys. I'm just weirded out with where to be here. So sorry. I should just sit there for 10 minutes making this perfect, but I see my chair has the legs sticking out, and then this stand has the legs sticking out. I'm going to have to do something different, but we'll figure it out. This seems pretty good, but now I'm not in the center. If I move this, center me out, and then kind of do a tilt action here with the camera. I like that. That's pretty good. I'll take that. Okay. Also, I got some weird news that we're going to share tomorrow night, but I'm just going to get into it. But This is really weird. Shaanxi's Black Death patient start to die within 3 hours, right? I mean, there's a video about this. We can't read this, but I will read you the translation. I got Google Translate here, and I translated this page from Chinese. So it's not perfect, but Beijing time, March 25th. It's a Chinese Communist virus, Wuhan pneumonia, continues to rang. Shaanxi is again experiencing a terrible Black Death. A few days ago, someone was infected with the hantavirus, Black Death, on a bus passing Nishan County. The deceased was only 3 hours from onset to death, and 32 people in the same car had been isolated. A few days ago, a video was circulating on the internet saying that someone in Nishan County, Shang Province, had been infected with the hantavirus and died, and all the colleagues were quarantined. Subsequently, Nishan government official website informed March 23rd at 4 p.m. Rongqing Changdao Aquatic Food Co. leased a bus of the town of Lingshao, and then workers returned to Shangdao to work. The license plate number of the bus is LUK00149. There are 2 drivers, 1 medical staff, and 3 laborers on board. When passing through Nishan County, the onboard medical staff discovered that Tian Mumu was unwell and then dialed 120 emergency phone. The report said at 7 o'clock on the 23rd, Tian Mu died of ineffective treatment. He was only 3 hours from onset to death. It's reported that the hantavirus is a deadly infectious disease that is transmitted to humans via mice and is classified as a biologically hazardous 4th-level virus. The disease is called hanta disease, hemorrhagic fever, basically hemorrhaging of the brain, right? And your organs start to just ooze blood, with renal syndrome and epidemic hemorrhagic fever. The incubation period of human infection of the hantavirus is 7 to 14 days, similar to corona, and occasionally as short as 4 days or as long as 2 months. Imagine knowing for 2 months. The onset of the disease is rapid and progressively rapid. It's not treated in time and can cause death, especially the hantavirus infection carried by guinea pigs. And the mortality rate of hospital patients can reach 10%. Also known as the Black Death in the Middle Ages, it's highly contagious, has no cure, and is widely regarded as the most harmful and catastrophic severe plague in human history. At the time, both aristocracy and the beggar died of the Black Death, and they died in the same way. In Europe in the 1400s, the name Black Death was the name in Europe at the time because the skin of the patient became black due to subcutaneous bleeding. Subcutaneous bleeding. The Black Plague was killed approximately 75 million people worldwide. Estimated that between 30 and 60% of people in Europe died of the Black Plague during the outbreak. It is worth mentioning that in November last year, the Shanghai District Health and Health Committee of Beijing announced the 2 patients from Sunlit Left Banner of Xingo League in Inner Mongolia were diagnosed with pneumonic plague. Officials did not disclose the details of the patient, but only claimed that they had been treated. Plague, also known as the Black Death, is caused by Bacillus pestis. The confirmed pneumonia plague can be transmitted from person to person through air droplets, with the incubation period of 1 to 9 days. So that's what we're dealing with now, the coronavirus. But yeah, what if we get the Black Death in here as well? That's pretty weird, pretty strange, pretty creepy. Yeah, you bleed from the inside out. Yeah, man, it's crazy, right? I can't make this stuff up, guys. This is just really what's going on. Okay, now Bitcoin coming back down after that pump. I never wanted to see it come back down, but honestly, this is a double top. I could see us going back to 4,500, not to be rude. Let's check in the other cryptos and what's going on today. Let's see. Let's go to CoinMarketCap and just give it a look. I'm going to bookmark this in the crypto folder. Bookmark this tab. I don't know how it wasn't in the crypto folder already, but okay. So here we go. Bitcoin up 0.13%. Ethereum down 1%. Not good for the altcoins. When Ethereum starts to tank, it's kind of the leader. So XRP down 0.85%. Tether down 33%. Bitcoin Cash. So it's kind of a red day, but not hugely red. Just kind of flat. More flat. We have 11% in basic attention token. Shout out to my guy who put some money in there. Ali, he was there yesterday. He was in at 11 cents. He's made almost a nice 50% gain, 44%, something like that. VeChain up 5%, back to 0.03. This will definitely has already hit a cent, almost basically 0.09. It's on its way to a cent. It will, Hedera hash graph. Just seeing the names that augur, waves. So nothing huge. Let's just see the gainers, the big gainers. Here you can just go to tools, right? And you can see, we want to go to was it rankings, market cap, gainers and losers. Wow, so Help a Coin, Help ICO up 220%, Eureka Coin, Stem Cell Coin, Amen Coin, Shine Coin, Bitball, Swap, Sentio Protocol, Raise, Waves Enterprise, Pixel, Lena. Nothing really huge. I mean, smaller market caps like 17,000. I mean, this stuff is kind of a joke. So, biggest losers, Electronero, never heard of it. Bitball, Treasure, never heard of it. Filecoin, that was one of the first coins ever. Filecoin, if you look it up. Futures, weird. Whitecoin, Big Boom, Storium, funny, right? Iona Chat, Google. So a lot of just random unknown coins that I've never even heard of making some moves. There's always some coins making moves. You got to see that, just depending on what's going on in crypto. But Bitcoin in 7 days up 29%. That's great. 20%. So in the last week, we're doing very well. Bitcoin SV up 50%. Imagine making 50% in a week. You can do it in crypto. Litecoin at 39, still a very good buy. Let me just get into Litecoin. I haven't dove into Litecoin in a while. I just want to see its chart. I hold a lot of Litecoin, about like 50 Litecoins. So you'd think I would want to look at it a little more than I do, right? Yeah. I'm on Litecoin Tether, so that's where I trade it. So that's where I should be looking at it. So it's similar to Bitcoin. If we look at it here and we expand this, we have a really big triangle here. It does break out of this triangle. It looks like we're going to have to come back to the trend line at 37. That's just what I see. Bitcoin did the same thing. That's when we hit our 53 area. So yeah, I think we come back down in 36, and that's where I would be getting into Litecoin. Right here. Kind of including this low. So with a low of 35 into 36, something like that. This is on the 15-minute chart, though. So let me go back to the 4-hour. Very similar. We got a double top forming on Litecoin, as you can see, too, which kind of tells me that we could have some downside for Litecoin. I hate to say this, but where's the target? So back to 32. And also, look, it coincides with this region here, which was heavy support. So I'm actually going to change my buy box down. This is where I would accumulate Litecoin right now. Between 32 and 34, I would wait for it to come back down. It's a long-term hold for me for Litecoin. Just going to let it do its thing. Not really stress much about it, and let it hang. But that's just something I haven't looked at Litecoin in a long time. JNUG holding the DOW. See, just like we said, those gains just imploded. I called it, and I think we'll be down 500 to 1,000 points by the end of the day. That S&P short's looking good, trying to climb back up. See what happens. Is JNUG taking a hit because of it? No. This is what I like to see now. JNUG was slamming. It was down like 60% one day also as the Dow was down. And that was really horrible to see, really sad to see. But now you can see that JNUG is stabilizing because it's so oversold. Look at it. It's so oversold on the 4-hour. It's oversold in the daily. Many places it's oversold. We have a lot of movement here. So there's a lot of accumulation in this range. I think it's a really good time to get into JNUG. I think it's a good time to buy some gold bars if you can. At the last, this is like it. This is going to be it. Look at gold on its meteoric rise, and now it's kind of forming what's called a bull flag. See? You can see it's like a flagpole, right? And now if we were to take this length of the pole and put it to the top of the flag, that's going to be our next target for gold. Which put us right back up to 1720. It was amazing to see gold hit $1,700 an ounce. I mean, it did. This chart's not saying it, but I know we saw gold at $1,700 an ounce. Oh yeah, right here it is. $16.99 was its top right there. So we need to break through this resistance right there, and we're on our way to the races here with gold. I think we're gonna go up $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 an ounce in the next year and a half. I think all these things going on, people are just going to get smarter. They're going to realize what's really happening. right? That's my prediction for gold. We got a lot of weird news too to read about. Global equity surged, then reversed after the U.S. lawmakers reached deal on $2 trillion. European stocks and Dow Industrial Average futures reversed sharp gains and turned lower on Wednesday after the U.S. Senate and White House negotiations reached an agreement. Another thing I was reading is, the Dow Jones made up only 9% of like the markets back then. Now it's over 50%. So like it wasn't always the health of the economy, whether the stock market was doing well or not. It was jobs. It was the economy itself. Now we're so derivative wrapped, and so many people are caught in the same systems that we're seeing a lot of pain. Here's my man Mike Maloney. Let's just get into what he has to say for the morning.
The mortgages that they hold of acronyms that is coming at us is amazing. And here is the evil part. They call this stimulus by doing asset purchases. So they're counterfeiting currency and buying stuff. For instance,
when he says counterfeiting, he means they print money out of thin air. They don't make it. They just say, oh, they can just make money with a zero balance sheet. That's counterfeiting dollars. I mean, you're making money out of nowhere, right? I mean, it's not technically counterfeiting, but it is. They're making value out of zero and then buying assets. What if you could just print money and then go buy someone's house, right? How is that possible? Why is that okay? They're a private entity that can print money and then buy whatever they want. They're not even a government-run bank. They're a private entity. So we have a group of people who we don't really know, who have hidden their identity, who are buying everything with money that they can print out of a machine. It sounds like a fantasy tale. It sounds ridiculous.
Since, they hold a tremendous amount of mortgage-backed securities. Therefore, the Fed is the largest owner of real estate in the world. The number of the mortgages that they hold, basically, the liens on property, is in the trillions of dollars. And they did this by counterfeiting currency into existence. This is just so immoral. And now, the companies that did all of these buybacks of their own stock positions during the past several years are lining up for bailouts that correspond to roughly the amount of the stock buybacks. So they didn't spend that capital on growing the economy and growing their business. They spent it by just artificially inflating their stock by buying back shares of stock. So on the radar, we've got basically a crypto dollar coming. There's a bill in Congress now. I think they've withdrawn the portion where they were going to establish a digital dollar with digital dollar wallets. But you need to watch episode 8 of Hidden Secrets of Money to understand how blockchain technology can either free us or enslave us. It's very, very important. And this is happening right now. So regardless of what you think of, it's time to learn about it. All of us need to learn what's going on, and then we can develop our own opinions. But for me, I don't want digital currency where where the Fed, first of all, the IRS, they can take their taxes from you as you're making the currency. They just rip it out of there. And then the government can track everything you're doing. They know every purchase. They can follow you everywhere. They know where you are. And then the central banks can take interest rates way negative, which punishes you for saving any currency. It causes you to spend it. What they're trying to do is gain control over the velocity of currency, how quickly currency changes hands in a year. So the chart of the day, this is real estate investment trusts. It's the Canadian, it's Vanguard Canadian Fund for Real Estate Investment Trusts. And this goes back to 2013. And what you're seeing is that it's setting all-time record lows since its inception. In 2012, actually, is when it started, but its low was in 2013. So, I mean, look at that chart just falling off a cliff. This is the beginning of all of the real estate bubbles globally. And believe
now, if you can see what Mike Maloney is saying here, I mean, he's showing you the connection between all the economies in the world and what's really going on. He is a deep diver. I've been following him for 10 years. I learned about him through the 2008 crisis. He is one of the greatest, basically, The Hidden Secrets of Money by Mike Maloney. I really like to push this a lot because it's his message. You got Gerald Celente as well. Let's see what he's saying, because he tends to get into a lot of different stuff. Greg Hunter is great.
There is some good news on the China virus front.
I don't want to hear any of that nonsense.
I didn't know that. I guess they.
How could you repeat that nonsense
in the economics classes that you?
If you want to know what's happening in China, we did a deep dive yesterday because it does tie into the economy. So if you want to go to my channel and check it out, look at him, right?
I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. There is some good news
he got
on
Mike
China
Maloney.
virus front.
I don't want to hear that nonsense.
$2.5 trillion something.
It's going to temporarily. It's going to boost the equity markets. They're going to keep giving money to the trading houses, the hedge funds, the banksters. You know what happened the last time? They pumped in $29 trillion. That's with a T. Secretly, following when the Great Recession hit in 2007, 2008 to 2010. This will artificially inflate the equity markets. Meanwhile, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to feed my children? They closed down my country. I don't have a job. How am I going to work? This money is only going to go to the gangsters, the banksters, just like the last time. You know what happened. All these BS low-life politicians bragged about how they built up the economy. This is, I'm no fan of Bernie Sanders. I'll give you free education. He's a jerk. But, if Sanders gets elected, we're going to have socialism in this country. Hey, you got socialism for the rich, capitalism for we the people. We the people have to make it on our own. These bailouts are for the rich. Just like I said, the facts prove it. All of the money that was dumped into the economy following the Great Recession went to the 1%. Capiche? The same thing is happening. That's what will happen with the $2.5 trillion.
Are we going to, you've been using the word depression. So even with this week, this big vault up on the stock market, you're saying don't buy it. We're headed for a train wreck. Is that right?
Of course.
It's going to be worse than the Great Depression. It's the greatest depression. Look, before all this happened, hey, remember all those people protesting in Hong Kong? Hey, you forget about the ones over there in France? What about Chile? You ever hear of Colombia? What about Peru? Hey, how about South Africa, Algeria? How about Lebanon? How about one country after another? People taken to the streets because they're broke already. All the money went to the 1%. They don't have basic living standards. They were revolting before this happened. Here, just some back news here. Las Vegas anti-homeless ordinance enforcement begins. This is February 17th. The law was passed in January. You think you got a homeless problem? This is before that happened. How about this? You look at the OECD sounds corporate debt warning. This is, again, before the coronavirus. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, blah, 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 has issued a report detailing the rapid rise of corporate debt and the dangers it poses for the world economy in the event of an unexpected rise in interest rates or a recession. Interest rates are now down in the toilet, but not a recession. How about a depression? Hey, look at those wonderful oil prices. Look how low they are, right? All that money the shale industry borrowed. Again, we write about this stuff and been writing about it before all this happened. The debt levels are phenomenal. You have over $250 trillion worth of global debt. And all of the personal debt. Hey, how are you going to pay that credit card debt? What do we have in the United States? What is it? The 13-something trillion or something? What is it? And how about that student debt? And how about the car loans? And how about the mortgages? And how about the electric bill, the phone bill? I'm out of work. My governor said I should stay home. Hey, while that little jerk is running around looking at people, too many people who's out Saturday. You're too close to each other. You're too close to each other. While all his flunkies are around him. Hey, how come you're not social distancing from...
Yeah, they're telling us, and then they still keep themselves up at the podium surrounded by people. I can't figure it out.
The little low lives that suck up to you and bow down to you. And I say that firsthand. I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate at 25 years old. It was the worst job I ever had in my life, watching grown men grovel to suck their way up to the top. And that's who we have running and ruining our nation. A bunch of political lowlives.
You think that, so you think this whole coronavirus...
Trying to get to where he's talking about
rub it on their hands.
how gold will be
They
stolen.
rub it on their hands. They got people freaked out. They're going to give us digital trash. That's what they're doing. They're going to get rid of the currencies that they have. Greg, you mentioned how much the markets went up. How about gold prices? They bounced back $200 from Friday. Because the reason gold prices went down is because people were taking their money that they made in gold to cover their losses, their margin calls, their shorts in the equity markets. They're going broke. That's why gold prices went down. I've been following gold. My first buy of gold was in the late 1970s at $187.50 an ounce. And you know, I've been forecasting this stuff. I'll put my track record up against anybody's. You go to our Trends Journal, June 6, 2019, the gold bull run has begun. Gold was at $1,332. And as we're speaking now, it's in the mid high range of 1600s. It hit 1700. The reason gold prices went down again was because they had to bail out of gold. They needed the dough. Now the smart money is seeing the fake money being printed, and they're going into gold. That's gold prices. Here, now hear this. Now hear this. Just like you have these low-life, slimy pieces of crap politicians robbing us of our Bill of Rights and our constitutional rights, they're going to go after your gold. They're going to go after your gold. They're going to try to steal your gold. They did it in the last Great Depression, and they're going to do it in the Greatest Depression. You mark my words.
Really?
Do you think that people will be allowed to? I mean, it's going to be awful hard for them to take back, gold eagles that they sold you since 1986. Aren't they? Aren't they going to have a hard time? Being everybody in Congress, I'm sure everybody in the Senate has a big old, basket of gold eagles. Do you think they're going to be able to take your gold eagles back, or are they going to take everything else back? Mining, bars, Krugerrands, Maple Leafs. Give me your appraisal of that.
Everything, just like they did the last time. And if you have it in a safety deposit box, well, you can't go in there, terrorists. We got to go through we got to make sure that those safety deposit boxes are clean. Whatever story they're going to make up, they'll make up. They'll make up. Look what they're doing. You just mentioned the sickness of them pumping out $2.5 trillion. Where the hell are you getting this money from? Where are you getting the money from? Screw you. I don't have to tell you where we're getting the money from. We're making it up, just like we make up all the other crap. Oh, and don't forget, if you believe them, you also believe that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda. And we got to get that guy over there, that Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan, and we're going to start the longest war in American history and have no end in sight. The reason I'm mentioning this is because just as they have no exit plan when they start all this other insanity like wars, they have no exit plan with this. You got a bunch of psychopaths, sociopaths, pathological liars, freaks, cowards, and fools running a government near you around the world.
Yeah, this is sad. I mean, I'm like, the realization of what's happening. I've been following this for a long time, so to me, this is all obvious. But if it's shocking to you, it's just because you're just getting into the rabbit hole. And this is not any conspiracy theory, folks. So I had a feeling that this was an attempted rally. And now that I feel like we're bombing, I think we're going to come back down to this trend line at 6,100. I sold my position. I am now in cash. So I am ready to buy more Bitcoin when Bitcoin goes back down. I'm waiting for this 4,500 level. I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see one more big bounce down in crypto. Let's look at what's happening with XRP. Let's see what cryptos are up in my little world here. So data up 28%. Data is just something they love to pump. It's something like a banker's coin or something. It's got something weird going on with it. We have a MACD cross coming in a huge shot up. In the last few days, data is up like somewhat like 400%. So you could have got it at half a cent, or no, half a cent, and now it's already 3 cents. So it has boomed. Look at this. Data is up 84%. Oh, you want to do this? Yeah, I switched the levels. Now it's up 556% since the 18th. So in 1 week, how about 5x in your money real fast, right? Wow. It wasn't even really that oversold. Here would have been the buy, though, had you had any idea. But there was no indication that this was just going to skyrocket like that. They pumped these coins, man. So a bunch of hedge funds or somebody got into these coins. If you're shorting the market right now, Bear is moving very well. Let's look at Bear. This is how you short if you don't want to actually open up a short on Bybit and you're just on Binance. This is how you short right now. So you're going to see we're in this falling wedge, which has a 68% chance of a break to the upside. But we are in a downtrend. I could try to bring this up, but I think we're there. Now, what could happen? Well, you take the length here, and when we do break out, it's kind of telling me that Bitcoin's about to dump too. Like this is the adversary of Bitcoin, right? Trading against Bitcoin right here with the bear USDT trade. Interesting. We are oversold as well. We have a MACD cross coming, or just now happening right there. It's a lagging indicator, but it shows well. We were all the way up into the 60s. We're now back to 11. It may be time to short Bitcoin to get some more USDT. How would that be? Hit this up, get some gains on one end, and then go right back into Bitcoin after this has fed you pretty well. We do have a double bottom here too on the RSI showing you, and this is similar to a double bottom. See, we kind of bottomed here, another bottom. Seems to be breaking out. Bottom of the trend line. When in doubt, look left. So we're going to see why. Okay, this is a new asset. So we're kind of at a bottom here for this token. Interesting to see. Something definitely to keep on the radar. If I'm not going to be in Bitcoin, that means I don't think Bitcoin's going up. That means I should be trading this bear. And it is up 8% right now. So something to watch. Something to watch. Kava up 4%. Cody up 4.2%. Edo up 4%. SPXU starting to make its move back up again. That short, look, it got bought right back up. People decided, hey, this might be a time to reallocate back into SPXU. As this keeps turning, we're going to see a nice formation here in the MACD. When this decides to cross over, yeah. And look, we do have what's called hidden bullish divergence right here. We have a low and another low. Okay. That creates a downtrend on the RSI. But if we go to the same lows, and we go candle to candle, and even if we went to candlestick, that's a slight uptick. But we went candle to candle, we have hidden bullish divergence. That tells me it's time to get into SPXU. This is actually the moment right now. This is a huge indicator for me. Hidden bullish divergence, when I see it, 9 out of 10 times, it plays out pretty well. So that's something you really want to check out. Hidden bullish divergence coming at you, right? But this guy's breaking it down, man. If you don't listen to Gerald Celente, I've been listening to him for years. I found out about him on Coast to Coast. It's pretty cool to have Ivan on Tech here with Mike Maloney. That's my dream, is to get Mike Maloney on my channel. I'm not sure how to go about it, so I have to figure it out. Definitely. This is pretty funny. The 15 times The Simpsons predicted the future.
The Mayans, Nostradamus, Edgar.
Take a member on your Newton. Beat up Martin. Bah!
Let's see. Beat up Martin. Still doesn't work. What the f? Let's take a look at 15 things The Simpsons has predicted correctly.
Pretty weird. But
Before we get started, guys, I have a prediction of my own. You're going to subscribe to GameSpot Universe right now.
Boom.
Okay,
I did
maybe
it.
not, but what if I asked nicely? Please subscribe, because we have a ton of Easter egg we found in Season 4. Side note, guys, let's hope that none of that stuff ever comes true. Okay, back to The Simpsons. Let's start with tech, specifically FaceTime, or video conferencing, which was predicted back in '95. Lisa visits a fortune teller at a fair, and we're transported 15 years into the future. She's talking to Marge using her phone's video chat feature.
I mean, that's obvious. We all wanted that.
Watch. Kind of reminds me of Dick Tracy and how bad I wanted one of those things. But it wasn't until 19 years later that modern voice recognition, or a camera in comparable size that was featured on a 19 Ken Brock. Years later, we were introduced to the.
These are kind of weak.
Racking over 10 million views, this Pennsylvania machine wasn't calibrated correctly and changes a vote for Obama to Mitt Romney. Speaking of presidential elections, The Simpsons predicted Trump, as in President Trump. Yep, it's another flash forward to the future as Bart is an adult and Lisa is the President of the United States. Unfortunately, she is tasked with the gargantuan task of cleaning up after the disastrous job left by Donald Trump.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
We're broke.
The cunt?
Pretty weird, right? Pretty weird. That I'll give it to him.
The Nobel Prize in Economics. Milhouse was part of a Nobel Prize betting pool. Nerd alert, with Lisa, Martin, and Database. It doesn't take a Nobel Prize winner to predict this one. FIFA is corrupt. Back in 2014, Homer was asked by FIFA to help repair the organization's image and to actually referee a World Cup in Brazil. Yep, that happened. The episode forecast. Homer was a good 14 years early on the God particle, which helps explain how everything in the universe has mass. In a 1998 episode, Homer becomes an inventor and is shown at a chalkboard with an extremely complicated equation. Unbelievably, that equation actually predicts the mass of the Higgs boson, or something extremely close to it. Believe me, it's incredible, and was co-signed by Dr. Simon Singh, author of The Simpsons and Their Mathematical Secrets. This one is extremely bleak, but The Simpsons may have hinted at the Ebola outbreak way back in 1997. The episode features Marge trying to get a sick and depressed Bart out of bed and offering to read him this book, Curious George and the Ebola Virus.
Would you like to color something?
I did.
Could that drawing be a sign of life after an outbreak of a deadly virus? I know 2014 American Ebola outbreak. Elsewhere in the world, the show also predicted Greece's financial crisis a few years early. Back in 2012, Homer appeared as a guest commentator on the program Headbutt. Watch closely as the ticker runs across the bottom of the screen. Europe puts Greece on eBay. Of course, just 3 years later, Greece plunged into economic Frieden Roy's tiger attack. In the episode, Mr. Burns
That was kind of
time performance, but it's not all that impressive. Hell, she's one of the world's biggest stars. What's Sting did it better.
That's interesting. Something to bring about. Now, gold, man. Bitcoin could easily reach the value of gold in the next 2 to 3 years, analyst says. In the next 2 to 3 years, the total market capitalization of Bitcoin will surpass gold's as the most valuable coin, establish itself as a preferred store of value, thanks to its decreasing inflation and adoption. Bitcoin can easily reach the value of gold in the next 2 to 3 years. Few understand this. Never has there been such an easy layup trade. Today, it's about 500 to 600K. This is easy. There's no other asset to own today. Won't be long before this is obvious to all. Yeah, it was obvious to me for years now, and I can't understand why even my multimillionaire friends who seem to have a lot of time in their hands, a lot of research. I just made a bet with a friend that Bitcoin will be over 50K by May of 2021. I think it'll be well over that, and he made a big bet with me. I basically have to give him a signed John Elway helmet, or he is going to take me and my whole family to Anguilla and possibly buy me a jacuzzi. So, yeah, I figured I'd throw that in there because I know Bitcoin's going to go up, so there's no reason not to do that, right? No reason not to do that. Okay. Global equity surged in the reverse after U.S. lawmakers reached a $2 trillion deal, man. Fed's unlimited money facilitates a 100K Bitcoin price. Tone Vays was speaking that United States lawmakers agreed on a giant stimulus package to bail out consumers and the business owner over coronavirus. The package worth an estimated $6 trillion followed the Federal Reserve embarking on limited money printing. For multiple commentators, including Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, fiscal trends suggest that it would be easier for Bitcoin to hit a $2 trillion market cap. Dan Held, director of business development to follow exchange crack, and added, $6 trillion stimulus package for just one country, and you don't think Bitcoin can reach $2 trillion market cap? 100K a coin? Easily, right? Vitalik proposed a solution to embarrassing lack of Bitcoin bridge. Building bridges not limited to Bitcoin. Vitalik further suggests that Bitcoin was not the only potential destination for a DEX bridge from Ethereum, and other blockchain ecosystems should also be up for consideration. I agree. Australian Securities Exchange delays switch to blockchain due to COV. Oh, that's sad. Pandemic-driven volatility takes its toll. All right. So, how to play this market and what to do. Well, I just showed you basically it's time to get into JNUG, right? It's going to start pumping heavily. It's on its bottom here. This is only going to get good for JNUG. I think you're going to see it up at $30 again, which is a nice 6 times 5, 500% gains coming. Just as it lost from 80. I mean, it just lost a lot, right? It was all the way up at 100. It came all the way back down to this low. It lost 341% gains. And now it's basically gold is beginning to kind of show a standing here and push. Here we have Bitcoin just fighting the 6,500 region. It's just having a serious battle. If we go to the 5-minute, it just, look, it shot up here. Then we had similar to a red engulfing candle, not fully, but we came back down. That is a complex head and shoulders, folks. As you can see, this head and shoulders forming, shoulder, head. This was going to make the second shoulder. If we come back down, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but, and we come down from this shoulder area, which would be kind of this line. That puts Bitcoin back at 63 on the 5-minute chart. So in just right now, I see a short-term loss here, unless we can come back down to this trend line and hold at 6,500. If we go down to the daily, what does the daily look for Bitcoin? We do have higher, low, forming a new pattern here on our move up. But in the grand scheme of things, kind of broke out of that triangle that we had into a bit of this pattern here. Bottom of the trend line, we should keep going up if you look at it. But you know what? We could be getting stopped by this resistance here as well. I'm doing is I'm just waiting for a good entry point. Instead of buying gold, just take the foil off of a chocolate wrapper. Is there gold in there? I think the Dow will end the day in the red. I mean, how can you open? If we look at the Dow, it opens up. Shout out to Scott O'Leary. What's going on, man? If we look at the Dow right here, pumping up all the way 21 and then already losing basically. Oh, God. I mean, on the daily. Yeah. I just don't understand why people think that the stimulus will keep the money afloat. I think people are just too brainwashed into their lives. They want to keep it moving. We know Trump's going to force us back to work way too early, causing even more economic downturn. Amazon taking a hit, Walmart taking a hit. Walmart taking a big hit today, down 4%. It's pretty down. No, I feel you. It's getting to the time where you believe anything anymore because they're lying through their teeth, right? Lying through the teeth, man. Yeah, we check out the world meter. This was at 796 last night. It's already at 802. What a death just occurred again in the United States. 800 people dead. Soon we'll have 1,000 people dead. I remember when we have our first death, people were just like, whoa. In New York, we have 26,378 cases, 271 dead, a 1% fatality rate. Now, the flu has a 0.01, so that's a 10x. And they're trying to tell you this is just like the flu. It's not like the flu, folks. It's not even close. Not even close. This is something completely different that we're dealing with. And I don't know if you got into what I was saying earlier. A lot of people may not have seen it, but the Black Death has occurred in China. I will go over this tonight. So if you want to know more and you're like, what is he talking about? I'll be going over this tonight. I'll drop my phone in detail, and we're going to talk about that at 10 p.m. tonight. Another thing I want to show you guys here is on Monday, the Federal Reserve took everything that the free market advocates hold near and dear and blasted it to smithereens. It then had nerve to send its most debt-drunk president, Neil Kashkari, a printing junkie, to give an interview on 60 Minutes. I was glued to my seat when he said the Fed is nowhere near the boundaries of their arsenal tools and that they have an infinite amount of cash. You can't have an infinite amount of cash, right? Well, haven't had 2 DOW up days since this all started. No, I mean, they're playing games with the monetary system. It's obvious at this point. Completely obvious to anyone who's been doing any research. The Dow now down 48 points and moving. I think more is going down. What I really like to see is JNUG decoupling from the Dow now. Now the Dow down, but JNUG going up. This is what we wanted to see. They used it to crush this price so they could buy in more. I believe they were selling their gold to pay off all the debt and the leverage that they had lost when the Dow tanked. So they got into gold, right? Made some money on the way up, lost tons of money on the Dow, and then sold the gold to pay off the leverage. That's kind of what I see happening. Now that that's kind of the smoke is cleared, they're going to leave the Dow alone, let it crash, and they're going to be getting into JNUG. They're going to be getting into the short of SPXU again. Good move on that short. Made 46% from 29 and up. So, hey, you can't beat that, right? Especially in a downtrend like this. So, there's going to be another time to get back into SPXU. Let's check it out on the daily. So, it was oversold here, but look how it still rose up. Now we're getting a MACD cross. I think this is going to reset down into the 25 region, and that'll be a nice pickup for SPXU to start shorting again in the next 2 weeks. Make another 50 to 100% on that. Now the Dow, man, they tried to open it up into the 20,000 region, right? But that's just today. I mean, it opened 19,000. Oh, this is Amazon, sorry. I know that was about to say the Dow was at 20. Yeah, so the Dow opened up at about 21.48, all the way losing. See, they're saying it's only down 39 because it was up so much. So it's like they're trying to hide the down. Like, it really is down 1,200 points. But they tried to pump it up at the market open, just so when it did lose the gains, they can make it look like it only just, came down a little bit. But it's down. I'm going to say the Dow is down 1,200 points today. I mean, this is a lie. It's all manipulation all across the board. It's kind of sickening to watch. It's gross. You can tell it's lying after lie after lie. President Trump is going to push us back to work way too early and cause serious issues in the market. All right, but that's it for today, guys. I appreciate anyone who commented and came in onto the live show. Seems like a dry Wednesday. People are just kind of like milling around. Didn't get the action that we usually get on the channel. But I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, going over the markets, talking about what's happening, and giving you guys some options to try to save your wealth. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. And remember,